is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are all of you doing? I don't have time to point all of y'all out. I was in the gym today getting my swole on, and my arms is sore.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you joining us. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. I am, as always, we are the hosts. I am your guy, coming to you live from the 405 all the way in Oklahoma City, where the wind comes whipping down the plane from Zagnif Central. Mr. Fingers, and that guy right there, that fella over there, he is the sexy mother Hubbard. No, he's the brother from another, the sexy mother. It's the first time I ever messed it up. The brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place in your face. Colin P from the DMV. How you doing today, bro?
Oh, man. Trying to make it, dude. It's not a rough weekend, but it's a long weekend, man. Hung out with the B, man. Just, we kind of a little stressful. Not stressful, but long days of football, man. It was a good weekend for football
Oh, man, who are you telling?
It's awesome. I mean, I'm glad we got the win, but I mean, it was some good games. I mean, that USC game was one to beat, man. Whew, I stayed up till 2 o'clock watching that thing. But yeah, it was just a good weekend, dude. How about yourself?
I have made an executive decision this season. Last season, I made it a point to try and stay up and catch all the late games. And then on Sunday morning, an incredible thing happened. At some point last season, my body said, hey, we're over 50 years old and we're too old for this. I can't say what I want to say, so I had to censor myself. We are too old for this.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
And so I just started going. I mean, and I've missed a couple of barn burners like last week, Colorado at USC at Colorado.
Yeah.
So I'll have to suck up a gut, maybe sleep a little late, get up right before the 12 o'clock kickoff, and maybe get a nap in if there's some boring games in the middle of the day, so I can catch one of those night games, because the night games are good, bro. It's just I can't. But other than that, I went and sang on Friday, as I always do. And then Saturday I watched the games. And then Sunday I got to watch my wife just do this, because, she's a Cowboys fan. She did this all night yesterday. Interception. Interception. She just looked at me. She just looked at me and go, interception. Fumble recovery by San Francisco. Interception. Dak threw it right to him. Like, it's at the point where, and she loves her some Dak Prescott. It's at the point where she just starting to realize, like, maybe he's not him. But yeah, not a bad weekend overall, man.
Hey, we won though. I mean, we went down to the wire, and we the Falcons turned out. So.
Yes, sir. Shouts out to my guy. I know this is a college football show, specifically a UGA football show, but we gonna show the Dirty Birds a little love. Shouts out to the guy, Younghoe Koo. Wow, that's a mouthful. Younghoe Koo, who kicked the last second field goal for the win.
Yes, he did.
So the Birds have a winning record right now. That is amazing. The Birds have a winning record, and teams that I thought would be better than the Birds this season do not. Yep. So, well, at least on tomorrow night's show, at least 3/4 of the cast will be celebrating their team's win. Poor team of Denver Denver cannot get right. Denver cannot get right. Tina, that's the shouts out to my crew from the round table. That's tomorrow night with my guy Nick Rosario, Mr. I Want to Smoke, Miss Delilah, Diversity with Delilah this week in the NFL, Crespo, and Miss Tina Winter. And that's I had to put the Law and Order sound on there because she talks about NFL legal issues. So Tina, I'm sorry, your Broncos just couldn't get it done this weekend. That would have been. I look forward to the day when all four of us can celebrate because I'm a Falcons fan. Nick Delilah. Wow, the Georgia came out, didn't it? Nick and Delilah are both Bears fans, and Tina is a Broncos fan. And we have yet, I think, to have a week where all four. I counted all three NFL teams and then said all four. That's that new Common Core math where all of our teams have won at the same time. I'd actually have to go back and check that just to be sure. But anyway, having said all of that, you know what time it is, folks. We appreciate you tuning in. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with games around the SEC. If you had to pick a game outside of our game, what would you say was the game of the weekend?
On the SEC?
Yeah.
I'm having trouble here. Hang on one second. I'm not quite sure. Well, let me come back to me for a second. Let me think about it for a second.
Okay. Well, I set that question up in a specific way for a specific reason. There were several great games over the weekend that gave us cause to watch. Of course, Georgia. Is Kentucky gonna give them the 4? Is this gonna be the week they fall off? And then Georgia comes out with all 8 cylinders going. This was not a V6. This was a V8 with a turbocharger, with a Hemi, and a Hellcat engine in it. There's Alabama and Texas A&M. We'll get into all the games later, but the game of the week in the SEC was not even an SEC game. It was played between two teams which will be making their way into the SEC next season. The Red River Rivalry. I have been watching this because I now have a vested interest because I live here in the area, and I have been watching this game every year, and there have been some exciting moments. Case in point, the year that Lincoln Riley, I think it was 2 years ago, pulled Spencer Rattler and put in Caleb Williams, who eventually won the Heisman Trophy, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, put in Caleb Williams, who rallied Oklahoma to a come-from-behind victory. Then there was some years where Oklahoma just ran the rest of them. But this game this past Saturday was one to watch. Toe to toe. It was toe to toe. It was the rumble in the jungle. For every right hook, there was a strong uppercut coming the opposite direction. And what it came down to essentially was who had the ball for a long enough period of time to be able to score. Dylan Gabriel with the go-ahead touchdown. In that goal line stand. This is here. Wait, I bookmarked this. The goal line stand. This is something that you see, but a lot of the young kids that are playing football, they take for granted. There was nothing better growing up, Colin and me, watching a goal line stand. When you got that team down there, they have just they have rolled you all the way to the goal line, and it looks like they're going in. And then all of a sudden, the defense says, "You shall not pass."
Yeah, I mean, at one point, though, the nose of the ball was almost on that goal line. You know what I mean? They kept doing half of the goal, half of this to the goal, half of this to the goal. The penalties. You know what I mean? And that ball was probably about this far from the line. You know, and they held them. So
literally, all they had to do was do a center sneak. I don't even know if that's a legal play. If they could have done a center sneak, they could have gotten the ball across the goal line, and Oklahoma shut it down and said, "Nah, fam," and then marched right down the field with a minute and 2 seconds left on the clock, scored the go-ahead touchdown, and then the defense just said, "Okay, let's clamp down." I will take back. I don't know if I did this last week, but even if I did, I'm going to say it again. I will go on record as saying, I do not have a problem admitting when I may have reached way beyond the spectrum of my knowledge, or I may have spoken out of turn. In this case, a few years back, not even that many, because this is only our third season, might have been last year before, I said Neither of these teams are fit to be in the SEC. Not that they're not fit; they're more than welcome, but they're not going to be able to hang. That they played right there was some good old head knocking football. That was head knocking football right there. Both of these teams, Texas has nothing to be upset about other than losing the game. Honestly, I think that we watched what will eventually wind up being the Big 12 championship. Baylor, not as much of a annoyance. It's not as much of an annoyance. Iowa State, and this is just in the last couple of years. Texas Tech, Baylor, all of these teams I used to rattle off that could be trouble. Not so troublesome right now. Now we shall see, because that's only that was only week 6. We're in the week 7 now, so there's still a few more games left to be played, and we shall see how it all shakes out. But right now, I don't see either of them losing another game going through the rest of their schedule. They could very well wind up playing each other in the conference championship again. And the statisticians did have it that whoever won the game had a 70% or better chance of making their way to the CFP.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They would say, I think it was like Texas. I don't know the exact numbers because I looked at it on Friday, but it was like Texas was at like 71, 72%. And Texas, OU was at 71, 72%. Texas was like 74%. So basically, they said if this team wins this game, they have this much of a chance of going to the CFP, which basically means they're going to be one of the. It would basically mean 75% chance. There's only 4 slots. Those odds are pretty doggone good.
Yeah, that's almost 3 of those slots. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's very very high percentage. But going back to what you said about fit to be in the SEC, I mean, I don't think they're not fit to be in the SEC. I think there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, I think honestly, I don't think they come in there and just me personally, I don't think they'll come in and start just winning, right off the jump. Which I could be definitely wrong. I've been wrong before, but I think it's a little bit different playing, say, their conference as opposed to the SEC. But they play. Also, I mean.
Yeah. Did you freeze on me, bro? Or were you looking at something? Okay.
Sorry,
I thought you froze on me. Don't do that to me, guy.
No, ads pop up. I'm trying to look at some stats here, and then ads pop up on the. So I don't know if you can hear that on the other side, but I can hear it on my side. I just don't want to do it. Keep it up.
You looking for stats and you got a J-Lo pop up. You had a J-Lo pop up in your feed.
Hey, I don't know. It's at ESPN. It ain't my fault, man. ESPN need to look at what they putting on their site. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, anyway. Let's take a look here while you're looking that up. I'm going to go ahead. You all know that we are running a competition every week via the This Week in the SEC. Via the This Week in the SEC Facebook page. By the way, stop on by the page. You like SEC football, stop on by, join the group. We do showcase the show there as well as have some discussions going on. Let's see what the numbers are looking like. Oh my goodness. It looks like this week's winner, we have a contest right now going on that if you guess the closest to the score of the Georgia game that weekend, you can win yourself. And I feel really bad. I'm a bad promoter because I don't have my stuff here with me. Hang on, this is the second time I've done this, Colin. Next time we get ready to get started, say, hey man, you got your hat?
All right, I got you next time. Yeah. I'll be on you.
So if you guess correctly, either guess the closest to the score, you will win yourself one of these beautiful hats right here, the snapback. Now, this one is a black and red. I had this one specifically made black and red because I am a dog fan. The one in particular will come in plain black with black brim with the white signature logo on it. As you can see there, it says Zagnif Apparel on it, established 2021. Those of you that didn't win, please feel free to stop on by our website. The QR code is right there in the bottom right corner, zagnifapparel.com. Grab yourself one. This week's winner, ladies and gentlemen, guessed 42-10, and that was the closest to the score. Mad congratulations to Mr. John Lenny. John, I will hit you up later, get your information so I can get your snap back out to you, my guy. We're gonna put another one up today. It will stay up until it will stay up. The comments will stay open until Friday evening. I will shut the comments. I said I was gonna shut it off at 9. I just leave it up until I go to bed. So before I go to bed on Friday night, I shut the comments off. Whoever comes the closest to the score in the game wins himself a beautiful that I now have within arm's reach. Zagnif Apparel snapback cap. Courtesy of Zagnif Apparel. We will be putting up the guess the score contest after tonight's show. Thank you for being a loyal supporter of Zagnif Apparel and this week in UGA football. So before we get into around the SEC, we are going to take ourselves a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. I am willing to bet any amount of money that we were back for a minute. And I was just sitting here looking dumb. Oh, yeah, well, dude, I don't know what it is. I got all of the ads turned off over here. And while you might not be able to hear them on the feed, the ads are just coming on. And then, of course, they're slowing, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week in UGA football. Mr. Fingers here. Colin P. from the DMV on the opposite side over there. So we're going to get into around the SEC. First of all, we're just going to go ahead and jump right on into it, man. Mississippi State said they were going to make up for the butt whooping they took last week, and they took it out on, now granted, they took it out on Western Michigan. Yeah. But the only quarter that they did not score double digits was the second quarter. Every other quarter, they scored double digits. Final score, 28, Western Michigan, Mississippi State, 41. But surprisingly, despite all of that, Western Michigan's quarterback had more yards. He was a leading passer. 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And the leading receiver was from Western Michigan. So, wow, I did not get a chance to check this game out. I would assume based on this, based on the output here, that this was a defensive game, that the defense just ran roughshod, because I don't see any stats here that indicate that.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at this, seeing if they had any kind of interception. Yeah. I mean,
rough night for Western Michigan Broncos is basically what it all boils down to. Will Rogers did have 189 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. See, they don't have. When you look at the score, it just shows you who the leading stats were. But Will Rogers did have 189 yards passing. Man, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I miss when they used to let him sling it around. Now, I know that was a Mike Leach thing, but Will Rogers, I mean, that's like having a Hellcat and just keep it in the garage, and you just use it to go shopping. You go around the corner to go to Walmart. You don't ever take it out on the road and open the throttle up. But despite all of that, Mississippi State walks away with the big win. Next game up, an inter-conference game, an inter-division game between Florida and Vanderbilt. Of course, We know how that went. Vanderbilt has had their share of struggles this year. They've had a little bit of injury. Florida walks away with a 38-14 win. Surprise, surprise. Sunbelt Billy and the Gators are 4-2, my guy.
Yep. Yep. They found a way to win, right?
That they did. They 100% did. Proud of them. Nice round of applause for Sunbelt Billy and the Gators, ladies and gentlemen. I got it. Hey, look. Hey, okay,
and
that's
look,
all.
Look what you said about Western, whatever it was, the game you're talking about, Western Michigan. Look, so Vanderbilt's quarterback Seals had the most yardage on that game, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. And
that
leading receiver was Shepard with 107 yards, 3 receptions, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. So there was the high. So that doesn't make what's that bandied is if you kind of look at it that way.
My understanding, Graham Mertz at some point took a stinger and he had to go sit for a little bit. So I don't believe that he finished the game.
Okay.
They wound up sending in Max Brown.
Okay, I got you.
But congratulations to the Gators. Hey, look, the Gators are well on their way. We're halfway through the season. They win 2 more, they're bowl eligible. They win a couple more, they might get themselves a decent bowl. I mean, could it be that they're just basically they're revving up en route towards the cocktail party? We shall see. Keeping it moving with the scores here that we have within and around the SEC. We also saw Alabama travel to Texas, to College Station, to take on the Aggies. And we also know that 2 years ago, that was a very fateful trip for Alabama. Alabama was the hands-on favorite to win it all, and they wound up getting handed a loss by Texas A&M, losing in College Station. This year, not so much. Jalen Milroe went off. 320. But you know what? And here's the theory. The theory is they said that they were going to center everything around the run because Jalen Milroe can't pass. And I tend to lend a little credence to that because Jalen Milroe lit him up. 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pickle. How about this? They got a Max Johnson at Texas A&M also. He threw for 239, 1 touchdown, and 1 pickle. Jace McClellan. Now, here's the thing. This is what makes this beating so bad. Yes, they only won by 6 points, but here's what makes the fact that the Crimson Tide won so bad for Texas A&M. Alabama had the same Alabama who has built their program on 3 yards in a cloud of dust and put out some of the most fearsome running backs, has had some of the most fearsome college running backs to come through Division I in the last 10 or 15 years. 23 yards rushing. And the reason they had 23 yards rushing is because Jalen Milroe got sacked a bunch of times in the first half, and he had negative 31 yards.
Yeah, I see that. Yep. Especially they abandoned the run. They had to abandon the run, basically. I mean,
halftime score. Texas A&M was up 17-10.
Yep.
I don't know. Like I did a short video. I put it out. I said Miss Terry might have to make a phone call to the locker room, and I think that's exactly what she did, because they proceeded to come out and the defense came out and shut A&M down. They scored all of 3 points the entire second half.
Yeah, and Alabama came in with a thunder like third quarter, scoring right off, two touchdowns right off the bat. So,
Oh yeah. Bama was not playing with A&M. But we talk about Bama and we dog them sometimes and we joke about them. But are we really surprised? I think not. And you all know why we're not surprised.
Bama does what Bama do. There it is. Yeah, I mean, come back. I mean, then it was just kept getting close, and I was like, nah. I mean, they're gonna do what they do. They're gonna find a way to win.
Yeah, so. And they did. So Bama pulls off big win, necessary, needed win to stay in the hunt. Currently 5-1 and undefeated. Hold on. Yeah, 5-1 and undefeated in conference play. So still with a shot to take the West. That was a much needed win for Alabama. And yeah, there was some there was some concern you could see on the sidelines because that loss meant not only do you now have 2 losses, you also have a loss in the division, which puts any chance you have of uh, getting into the CFP in jeopardy because you also have Ole Miss with just 1 loss, but they already have a conference loss. So now you kind of got this whole thing going on here. Speaking of Ole Miss, squeak. They squeaked by. Got to put a little WD-40 on it. Squeaked by Arkansas 20-27. KJ Jefferson had a decent day, though, 250 yards, although he had 2 pickles. He didn't have a half bad day. But our Ole Miss lives to fight another day. Speaking of live to fight another day, Bobby, LSU 4-2, 3-1. Why are they 4-2? Because they won. They beat Missouri 49-39. This one was supposed to be a little bit closer than this because Missouri came in very highly touted. 5-1. Luther Burden is lighting them up, and Luther Burden still was the leading receiver at the end of the day with 149 yards, and Brady Cook 411 yards, but he had 2 pickles.
Yep. That was the worst thing. The two pickles pretty much hurt him. I mean,
that last one was the pick 6 that just kind of sealed the deal as they were trying to march down and shut it, and trying to march down and catch up. So that is where we are with the Round the Horn, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got for SEC action. You can catch all of our short videos on Zagnif Productions, Zagnif 1. We put out little short videos. We break these shows up into short videos. Yours truly puts out little thoughts and things about what's going on Saturday. Colin will start doing some of those too, won't he?
Yes, he will. Won't he do it? Yes, he will.
Colin's going to put some of those out too. Yeah, he sure will. So what we're going to do before we get into our next segment, we are going to take yet another commercial break, and we will be right back. Y'all, do not go far. And I mean that. Don't go far. Like, seriously, as far as your arms can reach, that's as far as you can go. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Zagnif Apparel Design.com. Go get your stuff today. If you don't feel like typing it, the QR code's right there in the bottom right-hand corner. Give it a scan, click, and it'll take you right to the page. Order yourself some nice gear, and everything that you saw in that video with the models and the last frame is available. Every single one of those pairs of leggings are available. So we're going to keep this thing moving. Welcome back to This Week in UGA Football. Mr. Fingers here, Colin T there. We are moving on to our next segment, which is mid-season SEC coaches on the hot seat. Now, let's keep this thing real. Let's be for real for a minute. We know off dome Kirby's not in trouble. Nick's not in trouble. Barring something catastrophic, Nick's not in trouble. Brian Kelly, he's a second-year coach. And they made it to the conference championship last year.
Right.
We have seen historically that they will give a coach at least a buffer year if he has a bad year. See Coach O for reference.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Lane's job is secure for right now. I think Lane Kiffin is doing a good enough job at Ole Miss to be able to keep the masses happy. They are not winning conference championships every year, but they're not bottom of the barrel. Auburn, Hugh Freeze is in his first year. He's safe. Mississippi State, their coach in his first year. He's safe, although he's definitely mid. I don't know what to say about Arkansas. I'm going to leave that one alone for now. Vanderbilt, Clark Lee, second-year coach. His job safe. Beamer Ball, his seats might be a little warm by the end of the season if they don't turn it around, especially if they don't beat Clemson. But for right now, barring something catastrophic, he's safe.
Yep.
Heupel, safe. Drinkwitch, safe. Sunbelt Billy, we'll come back to him. And Mark Stoops is safe.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So basically, that leaves two coaches, Jimbo Fisher and Sunbelt Billy. Now, Billy Napier, not a bad coach.
Mm-hmm.
Came over from, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Not a bad coach at all. Was doing incredible things in Louisiana. Comes to Florida. Florida is a different animal. He inherited a program that did not have a good foundation, a good base. No. He is in his second year, to be fair, and right now he's 4-2. So to be completely honest, I don't know if he's on the hot seat or not. I think that if the season falls, if the bottom falls out, is where they are with where they are right now at the halfway mark. If the bottom falls out, he's probably going to be on a hot seat. But just as a thought, he's a $31 million buyout.
Ooh.
If they decide to cut him loose. You dig?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at they've got 2 losses right now, and I was just looking at the remaining schedule. I mean, like they could possibly have we play them, and then LSU and Missouri, maybe Florida State. I mean, it's possible they could have 4 more losses. I mean, possible, but I don't know if they will.
Give me the lineup again.
So the next game is South Carolina, then us, then Arkansas.
Tight. That's gonna be tight.
LSU, that's gonna be tight.
That's a loss.
That is a loss. Yeah.
That should be a loss.
Yeah, Missouri's gonna be a loss too in my mind.
Yes. Well, hold on. Here's the thing about Missouri. Missouri is that team, much like Kentucky a couple years ago, come into Athens undefeated, lose to us, wind up losing a couple more, and I think they finished the season with 3 losses.
Yeah.
I see Missouri picking up another couple of losses along the way. I still think they'll have a winning record and an impressive winning record for Missouri, but I still think they lose a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you very well could be right. But I mean, just looking at, I'm just trying to look at it for like maybe a 500 winning 500 percentage here. I don't know if they could do that. I mean, like it would be. I mean, do you think
who's after Missouri?
So we got after Missouri, you got Florida State. So, I mean, Florida State's Florida State. So I mean,
that's a loss.
Definitely a loss, right? So I would say Florida State's a loss, Missouri's a loss, LSU's a loss, Arkansas probably a win, and then Georgia. I'm not saying that's because I'm a fan, but that's a loss. And then South Carolina. I mean, that's a toss-up in my mind. So I mean, there could be 4 losses there. They've got 4 wins, 2 losses now, so they could. I mean, I don't know, dude.
You saying they could potentially go 5-7 is what you're saying?
Yeah.
6-6 at best, 5-7, maybe 4-8 on a worst case.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if the bottom completely falls out, because remember, they only have 2 losses right now. So for them to go 4-8 means they'd have to lose 6 straight games.
Well, yeah. Well, that's true. They got 6 left. So I mean, that's yeah.
Right.
So
That's my point. If they
yeah,
lose all 6 of those, I don't know that they'll cut him loose because that's a big buyout. And you
yeah,
also want to consider this. He's a second-year coach. He was a good coach before he came in. He's a second-year coach. Uh, Mullen kind of left things in a shambles. And if you get to the point where you're firing coaches after 2 years, you don't even give them a chance to bring guys in,
well, yeah,
develop them, build them up. That means that you're going to have a harder time on the back end finding viable candidates because nobody worth a spit is going to want to take that job.
coaches included. You know, I mean, coaches ain't gonna come here just to get fired. You know, not give them time to be, you know, to do what they need to do. I mean, especially what the current situation of the program is, right? I mean, like, but yeah, it's just, yeah, like you said, it's a big deal that it's the second year. I mean, he's trying to create like an atmosphere and a culture there. So I mean, it only, you know, it's only fair to give him adequate time to do what he needs to do. But I mean, you can see. I mean, they're in the hole, man. It's just they got to dig out. I mean, like we've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't act like we can't act like we ain't.
Oh God, I remember Jim Noonan. I remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, like it takes some time to kind of create a culture and create a an atmosphere. Well, not atmosphere, but a program. You know, that kind of stuff, and have the and they've been dipping in and out of the portal, right? I mean, like they've been losing. They've actually been people have been decommitting from Florida, so they've got to find ways to keep them there. So.
The hardest group of people to satisfy is your fan base.
Oh, of course.
And your boosters.
Yeah.
Okay. Because a reasonable person can look at this and go, this guy's only in his second year. And this is not like learning how to work the fryer at McDonald's when you should have it down by the end of your shift. This is coming in, taking over a program you're not familiar with, recruiting in areas that you don't really have a name brand recognition to that kind of extent in this particular conference. And you're getting people to know your faces and see your program and bring them in. You know what I mean? But the fans and the boosters, the people that stroke the checks that help to keep, because good and well the money the athletic department gives the football team is not enough to sustain the football team. There's a lot of booster money in there too. So the boosters and the fans, and guess what the boosters are? They're just fans with lots of money. So those are the folks that you have to satisfy. So I mean, if the boosters decide that he's done. He's done. Who was that they cobbled the money? Yeah, didn't the boosters at LSU, the same boosters that were patting Coach O on the back a couple of years before, did they say, "Oh no, homie, gotta go"?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep, and that's when he said, "I'll never forget that interview with him." Or not? I mean, like the they talked to him afterwards. Said, "Coach, not going good." He said, "We're gonna pay you your money, but we gotta let you go." He said, "Which door? Which door? What time do you want me to leave?" But yeah, you're right. I mean, it all comes down to the boosters, and it's money. I mean, that's it's cream. Cash rules everything around me. That kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Very most. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on the flip side, of course, right during the middle of the show, my sinuses just decided to start clogging up on me. Next in the hot seat, potentially on a hot seat, man by the name of Jimbo Fisher down in College Station in Texas. His overall record, as of the time the article and I read this in, it was written a little while back. He's 40-22 at A&M, and I was trying to do the math since then. So we're another month in, and I think he's lost another game since then. So anyway, 40-22. He is 14-12 in the past 3 years, and he's only finished in the top 15 once during the COVID year. But if they cut him loose this year, they owe him $76.8 million if they fired him.
Good God!
And they just renegotiated. Looks like they just renegotiated it. It's in here somewhere. It said he just renegotiated it like earlier this year, late last year. He renegotiated.
That was probably due to beating Alabama, right? I'm like, after he did that, he was like, "Oh, what time? We got any more money?" Probably.
Of course. Of course. That's when they signed the new contract.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Now, realistically speaking, let's be real. You're not going to fire a man. You got to pay. You got to pay $76 million to walk out the door. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm a billionaire. I'd have a hard time handing somebody 76 million on the way out the door.
Yeah, I would say that's a bad investment.
Yes.
You know,
You ain't gonna no ROI whatsoever.
none
I'm
at
just
all.
saying for those of you
that
that
for 71 million, I don't expect nothing. You know,
yeah.
all right, give it back to it. Nope, you're not
I
gonna get it.
listen, and here's a bad thing. Millions of dollars have gotten to the point where it don't really mean that much. Remember when there were people that were multimillionaires and they was worth 100, $200 million, and it was like, oh my God, you'd never be able to spend that much money. $100 million now ain't nothing.
No.
All the billionaires we got, all the oil billionaires, and then you got the Walton family and Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Jay-Z and his wife and Oprah Winfrey and
Elon Musk.
yeah, I said Elon and I forgot who the other billionaire is.
Puffy.
It's another billionaire. Puffy. Well, Puffy kind of close. I don't think he's there. No, he was. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tyler Perry, Robert Smith that paid off all the student debt at Morehouse's graduation a couple years ago. He said, I'm writing a check. Ain't none of y'all in debt no more. You don't owe your student loans. Go with God and have a great life and a great career. Like as many billionaires as there are now, that $78 million is like, it's chump change. But to me, shoot.
I put a hurting on 100 million. I would put a hurting.
Nah, bro. Look, I have a financial plan.
Oh, of course.
That if I ever come across enough money to be able to retire, I don't care if it's 12 million because I won a $25 million jackpot or whatever. I have a financial plan in place so that so much will go here, so much will go here. I will live off of this here. I will retire from having to work full time. I might have me a little part-time job because your boy like to have something to do, but that's it. But I got a plan in place. I ain't going crazy with the money. I'm gonna be like
what up?
I'm gonna be like Ocho Cinco.
Oh, sleeping in the stadium,
Bruh.
Hey,
I'll be like Ocho Cinco. Look, we going to Applebee's and Golden Corral. We gonna eat at the places like that. You ain't got to blow through no money like that.
Yeah, no $9,000 on dinner or more.
That's absolutely insane. Why would you do something like that? Well, I mean, come on now. I say that. I say that.
You do it one time, right? You'd have to do it.
I listen. I say that, and my wedding anniversary is coming up next month. So I mean, I know I'm gonna spend a little grip on that. Because we always go to this really nice restaurant. I mean, I'm not gonna spend a band. I mean, not a band. I'm not gonna spend a stack. But
still a band. Stack is a band. So you ain't spending
$1,000. Bro, I came. We came close to half a stack last time we went out for our anniversary. They're the most expensive food I ever ate, and you best believe I took everything with me that we didn't eat. Would you like a box? Would you like a box? Bring me a bag and all the boxes. I scraped all the little. I didn't leave no crumbs on the plate. I took the little candies that they had. I put them in the bag too. You taking the candy? Yes, I'm taking the candies too.
Yeah.
I think I still got them candies, and they are not fit to eat no more. It's been a whole year. I ain't throwing them out. That was almost that was expensive dinner. We'll hold on to that for a minute.
The silverware, the napkins. I said, I'm paying for these.
I'll be like Sophia Petrillo at a fancy dinner trying to take the silverware with me.
Give me that table call.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think there are any other coaches in the conference that are on the hot seat. And to be 100% realistic, to think that they would fire Jimbo Fisher while owing him that much money would be insane, unless they came up with a plan of action to pay it to do a payout. You know how they stacked Patrick Mahomes' money so it didn't all count against the salary cap in 1 year.
Right.
If they come out with a way to stack that money so they pay him X number of dollars a year and he don't have to show up, like your boy Bobby Padilla. Get a check every year. Ain't got to show up
I
nowhere.
mean, it comes out to now who would you get to replace him? I mean, like it's going to the coaches pool, like who you would grab from. You know what I mean? It's just like
Oh, they would.
I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, like the money, how much money they owe them, and that kind of stuff, and then who they're gonna get to put him in place.
Well, of course, I'm looking for the rumor mills to start saying that Urban Meyer's looking for another coaching job because every time you see him on the sidelines, they're like, "Oh, he's looking for a job somewhere." Just whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, don't know. And if it comes down to it, it's going to be a don't know, don't care. They will fire him and replace him with somebody immediately. I mean, you know. So
it's all about the wins, man. There's whoever can give him the best chance of winning, you know. But
yeah,
I mean, he's not doing bad. It's like, I just hope it doesn't come to where these coaches are, you know, with the 2 lost coaches or whatever, what have you, these, you know, for 2 years and they just kick them out. I mean, that's just kind of, I mean, they're getting their money, obviously, but it's just insane to me how they go in there. And I might have to look into being a coach. To be honest with you, go in there and just
for real,
do hard, awful, and then be like, all right, give me my money, put some in my calls where I can get paid.
Yep. Well, those of you that are just joining us, welcome to This Week in UGA Football. We're moving on to our next topic, the one you came to hear about and see about. The Dogs win in big fashion, and this was the one that we were waiting on, ladies and gentlemen. This was not the cat playing with an animal it's killing. This was not that. This was not Georgia coming out and limping around the field for 2 quarters and then turning on to Nas in the 3rd quarter. This was Georgia coming straight. This was Georgia coming straight out the gate and saying, we're going to punch you, and we're going to punch you in the mouth as many times as we possibly can until the game is over. And that is exactly what happened. Georgia came out. Carson Beck. Okay, let's start with some things here. Number one, I don't think I have a bad thing to say about this game. But the one thing that I want to lead with is Carson Beck is finally starting to look comfortable. Remember, we talked a couple of weeks ago about how Carson Beck, we couldn't figure it out because Carson looked so comfortable when he was playing in the garbage time games behind Stetson and playing in garbage time behind Stetson. And it was like, of course he's comfortable. He just walked on the field with a 40-point lead, and now he's just playing pitch and catch. Yep. Because they've pulled their first string and they put in their second string. So he's starting to look comfortable. He's out there. He's not. He looked a little jittery in the pocket the first couple of games. He looked very comfortable in the pocket, moving where he needed to. We know he's not as mobile as Stetson Bennett, moving when he needed to move, making the plays he needed to make, making really good reads. I mean, I did not see a whole lot wrong. I think he was they showed some stat that he was, I believe it was 10 for 10 out of his first 10 passes, 11 for 11. I think he went 12 or 13 passes before he had an interception. Not an interception, incompletion.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can tell, dude. And honestly, you know, that's what me and you both been begging for. Because I mean, and you're right about him being comfortable because you saw the excitement in his face. You saw him screaming and yelling, and you know it was just it looked like he was having fun. And that's where the teams from last year and the year before that, those teams were having fun. You could tell them being you know, happy, you know, celebrating the big plays, celebrating on defense, offense, you know. And then when you know, Beck would make you know, he'd make a good throw and catch, and him and Brock and Ra and you know and all the other you know, Dejan, you know, make good plays. You see him running behind there and you know, basically just screaming and hollering and you know, and excited about the games and everything. So we haven't seen that the past 2 years or the past 4 games or whatever. This is what I've been begging for. You know, this is the hype. This is what we need. And
this is exactly what we needed.
Yeah, and it definitely showed a difference in the game. Because there's several pictures of him. You can see him like in the middle of the screaming and hollering and everything, and that's when you know that he's back. You know, he's kind of coming to his own. And then Dejan was running. You know, he was running off. You know, Kendall Milton, he was good. You know, my boy Cash.
It's good to see him back. We hope he stays healthy.
Yep. And then old Brock, see, he wasn't targeting Brock right there to begin with, and then finally Brock shows up. It's Brocktober, right? You know. So, but yeah, I was happy to see all facets of the game. The team, I was very happy with.
Yeah, I mean, and Beck.
And then Dumas
and the defense. Oh my God, where has this defense been all season?
And they
I
were getting,
thought watching that game Saturday, I was looking at last year's defense when they was just starting to get their legs up under them. They were still phenomenal, but they were just starting to get their legs up under them the first couple of games.
yeah,
That's the defense I thought I was looking at. I mean, bodies were everywhere. Every time Ray Davis put his hands on the ball, there were 3 white jerseys on his back.
yep. And
Ray Davis ran for, I think, how much did they hold Ray Davis? Hold on, I'll pull it up. Don't worry about it. But Ray Davis, for those of you that have not followed football the last couple of weeks, Ray Davis is running back for the University of Kentucky, who had a phenomenal game about 9 days ago when he ran for 280 yards on the ground. He got held to 59 yards. As a matter of fact, they held the entire team to 55 yards. They held the whole team to 1/5, less than a fifth of the rushing total that Ray Davis had by himself the week before.
Yep. Yeah, they did the shift a lot more this time. You see that?
Yeah, they did. Well, it bit him in the butt one time. It did bite him in the butt one time. They got to delay a game, but yeah, they did that. That's my favorite. That's my jam right there. Move. They pop. They shift left, shift right. Cause that offsides or false start.
Yeah, and all the spreading the ball around, talking about Beck, I mean, look at several receivers that got their hands on the ball. Brock obviously hit 132 yards touchdown. Rosemary Jack-Saint, I mean, he had a great game.
That touchdown catch.
Woo! No, that was Rah-Rah.
The one that that was Rah-Rah?
Yeah, that was Rah-Rah.
Oh, yeah, the one that they tried to say was not a catch. Yeah, and then when they went back to the replay, when they went back to the slow-mo replay, I was like, oh, no. His foot came down and bound.
I missed that one. I saw that toe tap. I was like, hey, that boy got in there. All right. So, that was a heck of a catch. Heck of a ball placement, too, by Beck. I mean, like, that was the thing is he was putting the ball where it needed to be. Maybe last week, he was kind of I don't even know if those were bad throws. I think those were, back shoulder throws to Brock, but Brock was, had stick him on his hands and, he was kissing. But, but most of these balls he was throwing this past weekend were where they needed to be and where they could,
I was right along with the commentators. It's like that's something that you probably won't see much out from Brock Lesnar. Oh my God, from Brock. That's something you won't see much of from Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Hey, who knows? He might go. Hey, look, Goldberg went and wrestled after he finished playing football. They don't tell him.
Yeah, of course.
So,
listen, like I said, they Dejon ran good, and they had Lovett had a couple catches, and Delp. How about Delp? And then how about come on, where's that? Yeah, Delp with that touchdown. And the other team.
Oscar Delp got himself one. Yes.
Yeah. Malachi Starks. I mean, he balled out. And he had 4.
So here's your receiving touchdowns here: Brock Bowers, Rosemary Jack-Saint, Rah-Rah Thomas, Oscar Delp, and Andrew Paul. Who the hell is Andrew? Look. That's how good a victory we had. Who the hell is Andrew Paul? Somebody on the roster that I do not know who the heck they are. I'm about to pull him up right now. Andrew Paul. I'm very sorry. Never heard your name called before in a Georgia game, but I'm about to look you up right now. He is you know what? He's the guy that caught the touchdown during garbage time from Vandergrift. 5'11", 218 from Dallas, Texas.
Running back.
And Vandergrift got to get in there and sling it around a little bit himself. Vandergrift marched him right on down the field. 5-7, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. QBR 92.5. Now, granted, he had some limited playing time, but still, it was an absolute complete game. The defense was off the charts. Mekhi Muse is all over the place. With the punt returns, except for that one. He had one. Well, actually, I take that back. He didn't do very well on the punt returns. He had 2 for 6. He had one really good kickoff return for 22 yards. I think he's still finding his way. He really had a breakout game 3 weeks ago, and Kirby has put all his faith and trust in him. So we'll leave it that. We'll leave it at that. Good Lord, 92,746 screaming fans on Saturday.
And I think that had a lot to do with Beck as well. I think that's the first time he's been in that kind of a situation at home, with an SEC game and how loud it is. And I think that did a lot of good for him. And again,
but here's the
passionate,
thing: he played for 3 years behind Stetson and Jake, so
but you said it. But you said it yourself though. There was no urgency. There was no sense of urgency that he already had the game in the bag. He was just out there, slinging it around.
Right.
Which I mean,
true that.
I'm not saying that it's just it's he could have done whatever. Of course he wanted. But there's another thing about him that I kind of like him, reminiscent of. Well, not necessarily. It's a little bit about Stetson, but they asked him about him getting excited or anything like that. He said his composure, like he doesn't really get excited, and or as far as like those tense situations, like he doesn't really. He always knows he's going to score. That kind of confidence thing that he has, which is great. But
quiet confidence is good. It's such a stark contrast to what we had previously.
I think we're going to see a change, though. I think we're going to see a change. I think
you had
like here show.
Yeah. Well, Lord help him if they show up and he's got that fade and the chain on. It's a wrap.
Yeah. Exactly.
If he's rocking a Stat Quavius, Uncle Lou's already given him a nickname. I can't think of it, but absolutely incredibly complete game on all three facets of the game: offense, defense, special teams, all of them working together in tandem. 51 points. 51 points is the largest, I think, point output this season. Yes, it is. Second only to against UAB, but even with UAB, it took half a game for them to get started. They came out the gate and they said, "You guys are not coming in our house." Now, next week. Now, here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. Do you think that they lose a little bit of the fire because they know they're playing Vanderbilt next week?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it. I think this game will be over by halftime, to be honest with you. Because I think this might be a catalyst of what's to come. I mean, I hate to be like that, but I mean, I want to see that because I've never seen that excitement and fire that I've been looking for, right? And I saw it, but I don't know if that was anything to do with what had been said about Kentucky, about them, picked up Monty Wallace and that kind of stuff and whatever. But I don't know. It's good. It's a good question. I don't know. What do you think? You think Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt, but I mean. After seeing what I saw this past weekend, I don't think there's any slowdown. I mean, I think this is probably going to be like the kickoff to something.
Well, I'm hoping there's no slowdown. I sincerely am hoping there's no slowdown. The biggest thing for me is this is the first game we said last week, the first game that they really had to get up for. Mm-hmm. Auburn was a good test, and Auburn almost got them. Like I said, got to be careful. Sure. But I mean, they didn't have to get up for UT Martin or Ball State or UAB. Right. Maybe got up a little bit for South Carolina, and even then, they were able to hold them off enough until they decided they wanted to start playing. So this is the first game they really had to get up for. Now, after having to get up for this game and playing lights out ball, you're going to play Vanderbilt, who has no conference wins and probably is going to finish with 3, maybe 4 wins this season if they're lucky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would I don't know. That remains to be seen. Because I mean, I think listen to the other players, listen to Back, and listen to a lot of the other players after the game this past weekend. They have kind of got a little more camaraderie out of the guys, and getting a little closer, and they're finally close to finding who they are as a team, and finding how to play as a team, what have you. That, but we'll see.
You play to win the game, and that's what we come to do. And this was going to be an 11 o'clock kick. Well, it's going to be 11 o'clock here on CBS. So obviously not a marquee game. Just it's Vanderbilt. But Dogs will be doing what they do, and then they get 2 weeks of rest, and then after that, it's hate week.
Yeah.
It is hate week. We have to find a Florida fan. We're not going to interview Nikki this year. We have to find a Florida fan. Shout out to our girl Nikki Mays from SEC Focus. We had her on last year talking about TCU and I think Florida. No, did we have her talking about Florida?
I don't think Florida, just TCU. I think we had her
just TCU, but she's also a huge Florida fan. So we're not going to interview her, not because we don't like her. We're not going. She's in the middle, got some big things going on. She's tied up, so we're not gonna bug her. But we need a Florida fan to come on during Hate Week and tell us what they think the Gators are gonna do. I would reach out into some of these groups, but man, some of these folks, some of these Facebook groups, these folks are out of their minds.
Very true.
Like literally will be at home destroying their own computer, talking about how they're gonna come and get me and my mama and my mama's mama. it show up on my job. We don't need all of that. I'm too old for all of that. I just wanted to know how you thought your guys were gonna do. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I mean, what can they do to keep that momentum going? Coming back to the question, what do you think some things they can do to keep the momentum going?
Well, number one is like health. You know what I mean? Is like we're getting some people back slowly but surely. You know how we've been doing the past couple of years. You know, we're getting Lad back. You know, that Dijon. You know, it's all Milton coming in flashes. You know, the guys that have been since been injured. And to be honest with you, I think just playing week to week has done like huge things. Because I mean, like when you play week to week, you know, it seems like they are getting better as a team. You know, and I think that's a lot to I just to say about this sustaining, you know, like the play, you know, good play and, you know, defense, offense, whatever. But, you know, we're going into what you and I were talking about the number one, you know, when that reporter asked, you know, Kirby, do you consider yourself a number one team? You know, he said, I don't care. He said, I really don't care. You know?
Yep. He cut it out and sounded annoyed. You see how he said it? He was like,
oh, yeah. And that's how I feel about it.
It's like, he was like, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care. I was like, but yeah, I mean, it's the non-complacency, dude. And then it looks like it's, like I said, it just took a little time. And I'm hoping it is here to stay. Because, I mean, I wanted the guys they don't quite look like the teams from last year and the year before that, but they looking like it. As long as we can keep the injury bug away and they can still have fun and, you know, be excited and get the hype around them, I think they'll be fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're definitely looking for. I mean, we don't want to say it because it's Monday and the game still has to be played, and a lot can happen between now and when the clock strikes 000 at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But chances are pretty good. It's going to be a 7-0 Georgia going into Jacksonville for the cocktail party on October 28th. So.
But man. I mean, still, it's going to be a game, though. I mean, it always is. And then even Kirby said it's like any given Saturday SEC team. I mean, it's just the way the nature of the beast is playing in the SEC. It doesn't matter. You know, we could have you know, Vanderbilt could show us, you know, what they're made of. You know, it could be just a complete, you know, battle. You never know. But I mean, it's SEC against SEC. So
true.
But in Florida, you know, Florida is going to be a big one. So.
Yeah. Because and then we have a stretch on that backside. We got Florida, who's currently 4-2 and might have notched another couple of wins by then, or at least one more win by that. But, I mean, they could feasibly be 5-2 by the time we show up in the swamp. Missouri could feasibly be 7-1. Yeah. Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, the meat of the conference stretch is on the back end of the Vanderbilt game. Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee. And that's the murderer's row right there. Not like it's not like we're playing Michigan, Ohio State, USC,
right,
and Washington, Florida State on the back end of the schedule. But as far as the SEC is concerned, this is the creme de la creme right now.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are we the only undefeated SEC team right now?
We are. Yeah. We're the only one left. Okay. Yeah, everybody else has got one. Everybody else has got at least one L, and now everybody's gunning for. Everybody's going to be gunning for our heads. Every team we play from here going to the final horn at the Georgia Tech game is going to be gunning for our heads, especially those 5 SEC teams.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
Those of you just joining, those of you that are watching, those of you that are catching the replay, thank you for tuning in this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. I am one half of the crew. Mr. Fingers over there, that guy, Colin P. from the DMV. We're talking UGA football, but we're getting ready to run the show down with our final segment. And as you know, when it gets down to 120 seconds on the clock, you know what time it is. It's time for the 2-minute. All right, so Pete, we appreciate you tuning in and watching these videos.
Wrong one.
What the hell?
Wrong one.
I said the 2-minute one and not the goodbye.
It's a guy fight by.
Lord have mercy. All righty. I guess I'll lead off this 2-minute warning. Get more sleep so you can be more attentive to what the hell you're doing when you're supposed to be doing something important. That's my 2-minute warning. I'm not even making a joke. That is it. That is it. It's on you, brother.
No, I've got. I don't have anything. I mean, I really don't. I don't have anything other than what we've already said before.
Man, we do this segment every week.
I don't know.
You can say something like eat Cheetos. It tastes really good. I know it don't matter.
All right. Well, no, I do have something very, 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 very.
There we go. Thank you.
I have something very, very special to say. My son, the B Man, will be 13 this Friday. So the B Man will be Friday. Friday. We'll be 13 on Friday the 13th. So it's like we're having, it's crazy to me that the boy, it's not yesterday. He's, we were just bringing him home from the hospital, but to say that he's made leaps and bounds and strides unimaginable to me and obviously some other people, but I mean, it's just, and the strength that kid has is absolutely just amazing. But yeah, so here's to the B Man, and we'll give him another shout out on next Monday. But give a shout out to the B Man, my A1 number one. Daddy loves you. Can't do it. Wouldn't do anything. I don't know what I would do without you for that one. So there's
yes, as a very strong young man. I am privy to behind the scenes. I've known Colin since before the B Man was born, and I've known some of the things that he has faced in the course of his short life. And that kid is a baller. He's a baller. And never without a smile on his face. He might have to stop and think about something and stop, and you see his eyebrows come together and then think about it, and he figured it out and he just put that smile back on there and keep on rolling. So happy birthday, B Man from Oklahoma City. So we go hit the horn for him one more again. I made sure I looked and checked to make sure it was a horn and not something else. So I didn't try to prematurely end the show again. But we want to thank you all for tuning into the show today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back next week. There will be some good commentary coming your way over the course of Friday and Saturday. Friday leading into Saturday games, Saturday during the games. You may even get a little bit on Sunday. But on behalf of myself and Colin P., we going to shut it down for this week, and we'll see you back here in this platform next Monday. So be good to yourselves. Nope, I'm not doing that because that's the Jerry Springer thing. We'll just see you later. Y'all take care. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
All right, so Pete, we appreciate you tuning in and watching these videos. Me and Colin will be back every Monday, every Thursday, right on this very channel. Like what you see, hit the like button. Want to get the notifications, hit the subscribe button. Want your peoples to know, hit that share button and send it all across the internet. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll be back next time. We'll see you then. Go Dogs.